transfer Isabella Smith comes out of the bullpen for Oklahoma in the first inning. And Ella Wesolowski is ready to go for Mississippi State. The Bulldogs are running to the bat rack to get to the plate here in this first inning.
You can just feel the momentum in that Bulldog dugout. And with that, when you start seeing teams pass the bat, you've got to find a way coming into this ball game out of the bullpen, if you're Isabella Smith, to stop the bleeding. And you can just feel Mississippi State riding the vibe, just passing the bat. Every single hitter is coming into the box aggressively and attacking early in counts.
Isabella Smith out of Raleigh, North Carolina, spent 2021 at James Madison University, and this one is popped up into shallow center field. Wind blows that one more towards center field, and Gabby Garcia puts away the second out here in this first inning. But Isabella Smith then spent 2022 through 2024 at Campbell University. She's been the pitcher of the year in both the Big South and the Colonial Athletic Association, but this is an important step for her in the grand scheme of things for Oklahoma.
No doubt, and coming in and getting the quick out of Blaine. And again, coming in, next pitch, hammering the strike zone with a good spot on the outer half, calming things down a little bit for the Sooners and finding a way to strand a runner and get a little bit of calmness in the Sooner dugout. A lot of game left, and Smith getting the opportunity here. She's had some starts and had some time out of the bullpen. So a big spot here, treating this opportunity like a start.
Riley Hall on 0-2 lines it right at the Oklahoma shortstop Gabby Garcia, and the inning is over. So Isabella Smith comes in from the bullpen to get the final two outs, but what a start here, DJ. The home run by Sacco.
No doubter, and it's already a happy Easter for Sacco.
A 4-0 lead as we hit the bottom of the first inning. Welcome back to Left Field in Norman. Everett 5-5 out of Oakdale, California, actually leading this Mississippi State team in earned run average at 2.13, and she is unbeaten at 9-0 so far this season, DJ.
She has really been solid for Mississippi State and does such a good job of keeping hitters off balance. And the lefty, facing quite a few lefties in this OU lineup. It's a good matchup here for Everett.
Cassidy Pickering drives the first pitch she sees out of here. Oklahoma with a response, just like you would expect from the four-time reigning national champions. And Cassidy Pickering remains red hot.
Pickering says, I'll see your leadoff home run, and I'll give you one of my own. Same spot nearly. First pitch, and just attacking on the inner half. Not very often you see a first inning, 2 pitches thrown to both teams, and just first pitch jack to the same area of the field. And looks like we better settle in. This is going to be a fun one here today.
Buckle up and pull tight on that seatbelt. It could be one of those kind of rides on Easter Sunday. 13th home run of the year and the 43rd RBI for Cassidy Pickering. She leads Oklahoma in both of those categories. And here's the third baseman, Nelly McEnroe-Marinas. Haven't even given you the full Oklahoma lineup, and Pickering's already drilled one out. McEnroe-Marinas having a very good year. 8 home runs in 16 SEC games. She was 0 for 3 back on Friday night, but top 10 in the SEC in runs scored with 47 of them. Now, Sierra Sacco homered on the opening pitch of this game for Mississippi State. Cassidy Pickering homers on the opening Mississippi State pitch. Okay, full lineup here. Parker and then Garcia, Sidney Sanders, Agbayani, Dayton, Emmerling, and then Hannah Court, who homered in the first game of this series back on Friday in OKC. This one popped over the screen into the seats. Good solid Loves Field crowd on Easter Sunday, settling in for a doubleheader. What's that look there that you just saw from her? Did it land awkwardly or hit somebody in the stands? You could see that reaction from Nelly McEnroe-Marinas.
Yeah, I don't think it got anyone in the stands,
Yeah,
but
I think it was safe landing. I think everybody was okay. And a swing and a miss. A strikeout. That's a response there by Everett after giving up the home run.
and Everett growing right after McEnroe Marinas and challenging her 65 miles an hour on the outer half and getting the chase. Great location from Everett early in this game, ahead in the counts and expanding the zone.
Ella Parker, the designated player for the Sooners, had a double back on Friday afternoon, her 14th of the year. Battling painful shin splints to be in that everyday lineup for Patty Gasso and the Sooners. This one hit pretty hard, but foul up onto the concourse here at Loves Field. Mentioned it, but the MVP, Whitney, Nate, the entire grounds crew for getting this place ready. And part of the design of this beautiful field was the drainage system. You wouldn't know that 4.5 inches have fallen in the last 24 hours. It is in great shape.
Yeah, it was unbelievable to watch the grounds crew pull the tarp, dump water out into the outfield, and it was gone almost immediately. And
then water the infield after 4.5 inches of rain. Parker takes here, down and in. This is the 4th SEC doubleheader that Mississippi State has played. 4 doubleheaders. I mean, and you think about having to manage your pitching staff in particular when you have to play 2 games in one day, what they've had to go through. As Parker draws the 1-out walk, but not easy when you have to play that many doubleheaders in this conference in particular.
Not at all, and we talk so much about running the gauntlet of the SEC conference schedule. Pair that with playing 4 doubleheaders. 3 of those have been on the road, right? So you don't just have the schedule change. You don't just have a different approach in the way that you manage your pitchers. You don't have all of the things that go into playing a 3-game set on the road. Add to that, now playing your 4th doubleheader of the year.
And for good measure, the one non-conference weekend that they had out of SEC play, they played a doubleheader against Northwestern in that series.
Of course they did. Now, silver lining of all of that, depends on which way you slice it. Mississippi State has split all of those doubleheaders in SEC play as well, including a win over Tennessee as well. Yeah, Tennessee, Alabama, and Texas A&M. So they have acquitted themselves quite well. Beg your pardon, Texas was the other doubleheader. You find out really quick what type of ball club you have when you face that type of adversity that you can't really prepare for. Schedule changes, you can't prepare for that. You can on the fly, but it's not how you set up your week. So much of what these teams do is centered around structure and centered around routine. And seeing the way that Mississippi State has sort of been resilient. Playing doubleheaders has become routine. Yes. Keeping it light and loose over there in the dugout with the Easter Bunny ears. As you said, Samantha Ricketts talked about this team. She said they're about as serious a group as she has had. And there's some very interesting headwear also. Garcia slices another one foul. Good battle here between Everett and Gabby Garcia. Garcia 11 home runs. She was 0 for 3 back on Friday afternoon. She had a stretch from March 1st through the 9th where she homered in 5 straight games. First Oklahoman freshman to do that since Jocelyn Allo. And that's good company. Now, Gabby Garcia throughout this season, and it's been impressive to watch her even through SEC play just continue to kind of, I'm going to use the word evolve as a freshman, as a hitter in the box. She just has such maturity that you don't always see from a freshman. And you couple that with being the starting shortstop. on this OU defense as a freshman. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of leadership that you get thrust into. I mean, there's a lot of things that come with being the shortstop on any team, let alone this Oklahoma defense and the expectation that comes with that. And doing it all as a freshman, she's handled it remarkably well.
And you think about all of the inexperience on this Oklahoma roster, you know, right up the middle of the defense, the middle infield. Hannah Core has pretty much locked down center field, but she was not an everyday starter a year ago. And then at catcher, and Patty Gasso said, sometimes I have to remind myself to remind these young players of the rivalries that they have, including Alabama last weekend, and what it means for teams to play against Oklahoma, because a lot of this is still new to many of these current Sooners.
And it's very easy to forget, and I think that plays for both of these teams, the youthfulness. And especially when you are going through the SEC conference, and you've got a team with 5 losses, you forget the youth that's here.
This one hit hard towards center field. Sacco chases it down, bangs into the wall, and hangs on. What a great play. Sacco, an elite defender in addition to an elite hitter. And she pulls in out number 2 in the bottom of the first inning.
Everything about that entire sequence, Sacco getting a tremendous read on the ball off the bat, immediately going to the gap and making a big-time play. But go back to, that was an 11-pitch at-bat by Gabby Garcia. Seeing a ton of pitches early off of Everett, and that's what happens when you have an at-bat.
Sanders sends this one all the way to the base of the wall and left. Parker going to be waved around third. She'll score on a standing double by Sydney Sanders, and the Sooners have slashed the Bulldogs' lead in half in the bottom of the first.
Just as I was talking about Gabby Garcia's at-bat and how huge that was for this Oklahoma offense, Sydney Sanders recognized it. First pitch on the lower outer part of the plate and going down to get it. Great piece of hitting by Sydney Sanders, but I'm going to give some of that credit to Gabby Garcia in the at-bat that she had just before Sanders.
Sydney Sanders drives in her 28th run. That is her 6th double of the year. So after Mississippi State got 4 in the top of this inning, the Sooners have responded, and the crowd has early life. No conserving energy by the crowd today, facing 14 innings of softball. Ailana Agbayani now for the Sooners with Sydney Sanders at second base and 2 down. Bouncing ball off the glove of Edwards into center, and that chases home Sanders to make it a 1-run game.
Agbayani using the dirt. And right now, the Sooner offense is taking advantage of Everett not quite getting pitches to the corner. And Agbayani does such a tremendous job of taking the ball the other way. There are very few hitters that hit the ball where it's pitched. It sounds like a simple thing, right? It's almost cliche. Getting Audrey Lowry out of the game very quick. Here come the Sooners putting up a crooked number and answering, doing the exact same thing. Hunting pitches early in the count and taking advantage of Everett being in the strike zone early.
Dayton tries to slap this one and fouls it off. Abigail Dayton, the junior from Riverside, California, transfer from the University of Utah, where she was the Pac-12 batting champ a year ago when she hit .431. On the move goes Agbayani. The throw is on target, but it's dropped out there. That was a really good throw, it looked like. And I think the Bulldogs want a review. Morgan Stiles, we'll see if she held on to it long enough.
And almost immediately, looking over to the dugout, telling Coach Ricketts, challenge. And it could absolutely see the throw absolutely beating Agbayani. coming down to whether or not the tag was on, and you could see the throw coming in and getting caught on the back side of the bag by Morgan Stiles.
Yeah, she did come up with it. Original call safe. And our crew chief, Smokey Eds. Emerus Addison is our third base umpire. Cameron Elson is our plate umpire today. Centralized review in the SEC, having a look at it.
And
Kozlowski is a very good throwing catcher, as you saw right there. Let's look at the Hawkeye view here, DJ.
We don't get that too often. Yeah.
After review, the change.
So it is a caught stealing. And the Bulldogs, Samantha Ricketts with a good challenge. She hangs on to that first challenge and gets the final out. But Oklahoma gets on the board, a response, a 3-run rally, and a home run by Pickering.
Pickering, first pitch she sees, put the Sooners on the board.
It is 4-3 Mississippi State. We've only played one time they've met in Norman. Oklahoma's won all 9, including the first game of this series back on Friday afternoon at USA Softball Hall of Fame Complex in Devon Park. Kind of hit the reset button here. Is that what you want to do? Both pitchers, DJ?
Yeah, especially for Isabella Smith. Taking this game over in the circle, treating this as if you started this game and working to throw ground balls just like that.
So Isabella Smith has retired all 3 batters that she has faced. She has stabilized things for Oklahoma. She gets Kiara Sells, the number 9 batter, and the Bulldogs roll the lineup over. Sierra Sacco homered on the very first pitch of this game.
And it was, if you blinked, you missed it.
And you see her versatility as she bunts this one. That's part of the story of Sierra Sacco, though. She was a slapper, a more small ball type of player. But in the offseason, she said, I want to hit home runs. And so she's worked a lot with Tyler Bratton to get that home run stroke down. And after what we saw in the first inning, I'd say it's worked.
Yeah, I want to hit home runs, so she did.
Sure.
I'll go ahead and hit 9. Why not?
You know, that's kind of her, though. She's a very self-made player. And when others have doubted her, she has believed as she sprays this one toward Abigail Dayton for the second out, but hit that ball pretty well.
Yeah, when you hear Coach Ricketts talk about Sacco, she calls her the most competitive player she's ever had. And talk about a compliment of all compliments. And, you know, you take players like that, and being that competitive, sometimes it can eat you alive. Of feeling like nothing is ever good enough, or taking failures too hard, and also a piece that some of these Mississippi State players have had to learn as well.
Nadia Barbary scored a run after her base hit in the first inning. Lifts this one to deep left field. Abigail Dayton to the warning track. The wind knocks this one down, and it's caught for the final out. So Isabella Smith has retired all 5 batters she's faced since coming into this game for Oklahoma. It's 4-3 Mississippi State.
And no one had even stopped to take a breath.
Yeah, you wait 44 hours to play a game, and you're going to have a little pent-up energy.
We saw it all. We saw it all in about the first 6 minutes of the game.
We did.
But Smith settling some things down for the Sooners. You know, Everett walking in, facing the 7-8-9 here in the second, looking to do the same thing and really keep some momentum in that Mississippi State dugout. I mean, as quickly as it happened, the Sooners put up three runs in the first, but Mississippi State and Everett still pitching with a lead. Let your defense work.
Abigail Dayton was at the plate when Akbayani was caught trying to steal second base to close the first inning. Huge
play by Wesolowski. mean, the throw can't get much cleaner.
3-1 the count on Dayton. Abigail Dayton was really an energy provider in Friday's game. She was 3 for 3 in that game. And so she has now reached base safely in all 4 plate appearances in this series to this point. Isabella Emmerling will come to the plate for Oklahoma.
The leadoff walk to Dayton. Again, Everett getting out of the inning with Agbayani getting out on the steal attempt, but needing to stay in the zone. There's a fine line between expanding your zone and knowing that you have aggressive hitters, just like we're seeing nearly every Sooner hitter coming up and attacking early in their at-bat. That gives you the opportunity in the circle to work a little bit further off the plate early. Open the count a little bit off the plate early and try to get that chase, a miss hit. But you've also got to make sure that's a fine line you walk of expanding the zone and working behind in counts.
0-2 here on Isabella Emmerling. 0 for 2 back on Friday. The North Carolina transfer. 2 seasons as a Tar Heel. This is her first in Norman. That one found back. It's another thing that Oklahoma does very well, and that's simply get base runners on. They are second in the SEC in on-base percentage, and already 2 walks drawn in this game this afternoon.
And those walks against Everett, a pitcher who doesn't walk many. The 2 walks here today, just her 9th and 10th on the season. Very uncharacteristic of Delaney Everett to have 2 walks in 2 innings here in this ball game.
Everett with 152 strikeouts, top 5 in the SEC this year, and she's able to throw that one past Emmerling. That is her 2nd strikeout so far this afternoon.
And that is a location coming from the lefty. And just painting that outside corner.
Here's Hannah Core. Bunts it toward the first baseman, Hall, and she'll tag Core going down the line. Moving to second is going to be Abigail Dayton. She is there with 2 down.
And Hannah Core getting the button down. Sacrifice executed? Yes, sacrifice executed extremely well. Maybe not 100%. That bunt came off the bat like a slow ground ball. I say slow ground ball, almost a decently hit ground ball.
Yeah, it had a little pace to it.
But runner in scoring position for Cassidy Pickering.
Pickering homered on the first pitch that she saw in the bottom of the 1st inning. Her 13th, 43rd RBI. In the air, well hit to center. Retreating is Sacco. She'll come in a couple of steps and take care of it. Inning is over. Leadoff walk and a runner left for the Sooners. It's 4-3 Mississippi State heading to the 3rd in Norman.
In the heart of their lineup, but they're getting power numbers down in the 9 hole. Sells leads the team in bombs, and she's in the 9 slot. 11 home runs on the season. And I mean, that's not something you see very often, but when you are looking at the approach, and if you talk to Coach Ricketts, that has been the biggest difference for this offense. The approach, put the ball in play. But when you are working on sticking to a game plan, one thing that she really has been harping to this offense is stick to the game plan, but you can't get so locked into the game plan that you're not attacking, and you're not attacking mistakes that are coming from pitchers. that's at times
adjust.
Yes, and at times has been a struggle for some of these hitters of going, well, this is the game plan, this is where we're supposed to be, but not taking advantage of mistakes they see early in counts.
Wind held that ball up a little bit. It actually did, but it still hits the screen. Zach Shaw helping with that hitting ascension of Mississippi State as well.
Getting into that corner in left field, and something interesting about Love's field is left and right field have a different angle than what you see at many stadiums.
Yeah, you have room, and then it kind of gets pinched in as you get maybe 20 feet away from the outfield wall.
You've got a lot of room until you don't.
That's right. Full count here on Edwards, who singled and scored her first time up, drove in a run, and she's on base again.
So similar to what we saw in the bottom half of the second. Leadoff walk to start the inning.
Morgan Stiles will be the batter. That's the first base runner allowed by Isabella Smith. She had retired the first 5 that she faced in relief of Audrey Lowry in this game. Stiles flied out to right field back in the first. See a .318 average with 7 home runs. Quickly 0-2 on her. Stiles 1 for 2 on Friday afternoon. Played her first career innings at first base in that game. And she has reached base safely in 7 straight. This one rolled to third. McEnroe-Marinas cleanly over to first for the first out as Edwards moves into scoring position for the Bulldogs.
It's good work defensively by McEnroe-Marinas, but Morgan Stiles, the freshman, finding a way on a pitch down and in just to get enough to use the dirt and move Edwards into scoring position. Those are the types of at-bats. Again, are they flashy? No. But those are the types of at-bats that put runs on the board and give you opportunities.
Bernardini took advantage of an opportunity in the first, doubled home a run, and then scored a run in that 4-run first. And that one on the inner half. Bernardini did not drive in a run her first 3 seasons and has taken advantage of the opportunity this year. First 3 seasons had just 13 career at-bats. And that's something Samantha Ricketts has talked about with multiple players like Bernardini. They were able to bide their time. They like the culture and the environment that they've created there, and now they've taken advantage, and Bernardini is one of those.
And I feel like that speaks volumes to the culture that this coaching staff has built. The transfer portal has changed the game. We can talk about that ad nauseum. And there are great things about it. There are things, in my personal opinion, that are not so wonderful about it as well. But one thing that it has done is it takes away sometimes that building of programs where you have players who learn from your upperclassmen, bide their time, and then when they get their opportunity, they seize it. Mississippi State has kind of that old school approach with the way that this team is built. They use the transfer portal, absolutely they do, but they have a lot of players here who sat behind upperclassmen for a couple of years and then are getting their opportunities as upperclassmen and are really taking advantage of the time that they've got here.
A little conversation there between Emmerling and Smith. And now Jesse Blaine is in. Blaine RBI base hit in the first inning that drove home the 4th Mississippi State run. Blaine had a base hit in the Friday afternoon game in Oklahoma City. Hits this one foul and out of play. The Auburn transfer spent 2022 and 2023 with the Tigers. Little fly ball, shallow right field. In comes Pickering to make the catch. Tagging is Bernardini, and the throw to third will not get the base runner Edwards.
Just pure aggressiveness on the base paths for Mississippi State. I mean, that fly ball, relatively shallow, out and right. Pickering coming up quickly and firing. But Kylie Edwards tagging. And great slide on the back part of the bag to avoid the tag. But Mississippi State very aggressive on the base paths so far in this ball game.
Wasilowski grounds one to Agbayani for the final out. Bulldogs leave a couple in the third, but carry a 4-3 lead to the bottom half of inning number 3.
With going through the SEC schedule and what she's done against some of the best pitching in the country, I mean, she's been at the heart of almost every scoring opportunity this offense has had in SEC play.
Hits this one to the shortstop, Kylie Edwards, for the first out. That's 4 in a row retired now by Delaney Everett since giving up the leadoff walk to Abigail Dayton in the second inning.
And Everett letting her defense work for her. Again, a little bit of a rough first inning, but has really settled in nicely and is doing a very good job of working east and west. She's hitting those corners and getting these Sooner hitters to reach for pitches just a little bit off the plate.
Ella Parker walked and scored back in the Oklahoma first inning. As a pitcher, both starting pitchers gave up a home run on the very first pitch that they threw. Now, you were a pitcher. How do you respond to something like that? I mean, the wheels are spinning quickly when that happens.
You hit the second batter.
I figured you would say that. You were one of the all-time leading hit by pitch pitchers in collegiate baseball history.
No, Everett has done a tremendous job of responding. And it's really tough, especially you come out, you've thrown one pitch, and all of a sudden, there's not just a runner on base, there's a run on the board. And it hits you in the face very quickly, and you're going, okay, we just got out here, we just started. And the way that Everett has responded, again, had the walk in the second to lead off that inning, but worked around it. Followed it up with a couple of big outs and a big strikeout of Emmerling. But it's something you've got to have a short memory as a pitcher. You've got to have a short memory as a ball player just in general. But I feel like sometimes in the circle makes it tough to have a short memory.
Ooh, that one smoked back up the middle. And Everett fortunate to get out of the way of the line drive by Ella Parker, who's been on base twice in this game. That was a rocket hit by the Sooner designated player.
And that pitch not quite getting in on the hands of Ella Parker. And we've seen some hard hit balls here today, already 2 bombs. That might be the hardest hit ball we've seen here today.
Now Gabby Garcia lined one to the center fielder Sierra Sacco back in the first. Nadia Barbary is way in at third base. And now the Bulldogs want to talk it over. Wasilowski going to visit with Everett. See Garcia 0 for 1, but hit the ball hard. She's got 11 home runs on the year.
And Garcia lined out back in the first, and we've talked so much about the maturity that you see from the freshmen in the box. But one thing that you track as a hitting coach, as a pitching coach as well, how hard are some of your outs getting hit? And you go back to Garcia's out in the first. That ball was struck very well. The line drive by McEnroe Marinas to start the third, and out in the scorebook, but again, squared up pretty well. So Everett has done a good job of settling in. One thing that she has not established yet, and we're starting to see it even on balls that are hit that are outs. She hasn't established the off speed yet. So we're starting to see the Sooners sit on one speed.
Hit fouled and out of play by Gabby Garcia. Garcia, so anxious and eager to get her collegiate career started. And her mom, Kara, was a Hall of Fame player at Arizona State. Patty Gasso said maybe Gabby Garcia was pressing a little bit too much in the early stages. But she has certainly settled in from that and become the cleanup hitter on a top 4 team in the country lineup. And you almost take for granted. I mean, we're talking about a freshman here. Does not play with that kind of youthfulness.
No, and it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget that she is just a freshman.
Rolled into the hole. Great diving play made by Stiles, but she won't be able to get Garcia. And Oklahoma with runners at first and second now and one away.
Morgan Stiles nearly making a ridiculous play. It was a tremendous play just keeping that ball on the infield. She keeps that ball on the infield. Ella Parker has to stay at second base because that ball was not hit extremely hard. So Morgan Stiles nearly getting the out at first. But keeping that ball on the infield doesn't allow runners to advance. And man.
How about Ella Parker with the hopscotch over the batted ball there? That's right. Sydney Sanders doubled home Parker back in the first. Here we go.
Yes, in the 3-4 hole and a little bit of ups coming from Ella Parker. Just athleticism all around.
So Oklahoma now with the tying run in scoring position, potential go-ahead run on base as well. Sanders takes this one downstairs. 2-1. Favorable hitters count for a player who doubled home a run back in the first.
And Sydney Sanders, huge walk numbers. Really patient at the plate.
Turns on this one and drives it foul and out of play. Yeah, Sydney Sanders, 144 career walks. That is 5th amongst active players nationally.
She has a great eye. One thing that Sydney Sanders at times in those hitters counts, 2-1, lets a pitch go by, and not on that 2-1, hooked foul, but unleashing on the 2-1.
In the air to right field. Kiara Sells drops the ball. The runners had to hold up, but will still be safe at second and third. And I'm telling you, we've seen this on a couple of fly balls to right field. It's a strange wind out of the west-southwest today. And that one was in the glove of Sells, but then fell to the turf. And the bases are loaded.
We saw it back in the first with Pickering in right field battling the wind, and it has shifted since the first inning. And Sells trying to hang with it. But that wind wreaking havoc out in right field. And the Sooners have an opportunity to capitalize on an error.
That's the first Mississippi State error of the day. Ailana Agbayani now for the Sooners ropes this one foul down the left field line. Agbayani had an RBI single her first time up today. That made it a 4-3 game. One down in the inning. Fly balls are anything but routine. The wind, I look at the flags, it's almost blowing straight west.
In inning one, flags were blowing the complete opposite direction. Just completely shifting. Agbayani a spot here. She has been such a spark for this Sooner offense. Does a great job of just not trying to do too much. Uses the dirt. She's a great situational hitter.
Well hit to left. Bernardini chases it down in foul ground. Ella Parker will tag and score the tying run. It is 4 apiece on a sacrifice fly by Ailana Agbayani, who's driven in a pair today.
And when you talk about situational hitting, Agbayani taking a pitch that she can handle and just lifting it enough, and ball even flared into foul territory, and Bernardini hanging with it at the wall and doing a good job of making the out. But the situational hitting coming from Agbayani, pretty big time to tie this game up here in the third.
Identical line scores for the teams, 4 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error for each. And Abigail Dayton now with the go-ahead run in scoring position for Oklahoma. Abigail Dayton walked her first time up.
Opportunity here for the bottom half of this OU lineup to be clutch, and that's the word that Coach Gasso has used a lot this week, looking for clutchness, whether that's a word or not.
It is now. Clutchness coming through in the moment, a big spot, a big hit, a big play. It's kind of one of those things. I know it when I see it.
Yes.
And not many have seen it as much as Patty Gasso has in her career.
Good at bat here by Dayton. It's Everett trying to minimize the damage here in the third. Doing a good job again of staying in the strike zone, but has gotten in a little bit of trouble from time to time of knocking those pitches to corners. But there's a corner right there.
Huge strikeout there for Everett to finish the third inning. But we're back even at 4 apiece as we turn to inning number 4 in the first of a doubleheader here at Loves Field. And Sooner head coach, the Hall of Famer Patty Gasso, kind enough to join us here for a moment. What has Isabella Smith done to stabilize this game in the circle for you, Coach?
Keeping the ball in the park, getting some big outs, feeding our infield some ground balls. That's what we're looking for.
Coach, Mississippi State came out and struck early. What do you like about the response you've seen from your offense?
I love it, especially now. I guess after Alabama, we had some tough offensive struggles, but still swinging the bat. Got a new, fresh approach now, so I like the way we're swinging with intent, and it's with some passion.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thank
we
you,
appreciate
guys.
it.
You got it.
Sooner head coach Patty Gasso in a 4-4 game. It just has a weird weather feel today, and we're a block away from the National Weather Service. We got both of these coaches. It was the first topic with both coaches when we jumped into calls today. But Patty Gasso is almost like an honorary member of the National Weather Service. And then Samantha Ricketts has had to deal with playing 4 doubleheaders in SEC play because of the weather.
Softball coaches watch the weather more from February to June than any other time of the year.
No doubt. Patty Gasso really likes this team. She did use the word clutch and clutchness. It's one that she has used so often over the years because she's had so many performers who were exactly that. This ball hit well to center field, but the wind is going to hold it up as well. It's hard to tell what the wind is doing, in all honesty. And Hanacor able to chase down that ball off the bat of Riley Hull for the first out.
And Isabella Smith continuing. You heard Coach Gasso say it, letting this infield work, but letting her defense work for her. And so important, we've seen the wind play a factor. Again, not necessarily with balls leaving the yard, but a wind playing the factor in right field.
And that's where this one is blowing into the glove of Cassidy Pickering. And Kiara Sells is retired. Quickly 2 down here in this 4th inning, and that's 4 in a row retired by Isabella Smith.
2 quick outs for Smith. Again, both in the air for Mississippi State.
Back to the top of the order, and Sierra Sacco, who led off the game on the very first pitch with a home run.
one big key for Isabella Smith, tie game, middle part of this ball game. So important to be taking care of the bottom half of the lineup. 2 quick outs of the 8-9 and not allowing Hull to set the table for Sacco.
This one ripped out into right field, and Sacco has her second hit of the day.
And that's exactly why. Sacco on the year, 43 RBI. So much of that gets set up because the bottom half of your lineup is finding their way on base. So 2 out single to Sacco, you take it, you move on, and try to let your defense work here to get you out of the inning.
Nadia Barbary takes the first pitch downstairs. Barbary singled and then scored a run in the first. And she flied out to Abigail Dayton in left field in the second. Already batting for the 3rd time in 4 innings. Already career highs in hits, home runs, total bases.
Barbary has good power numbers.
Into left field and a fair ball. Over to cut it off comes Dayton, churning to third. Sacco waved home, and the Bulldogs have retaken the lead on an RBI double by Nadia Barbary in the 4th.
Barbary knew exactly what I was getting ready to say. As I was talking about her power numbers, what stands out to me, she has a lot of doubles. Big one right there, and not just a double with a swing of the bat. That was a hit and run. Sacco gone with the pitch and getting down into the left field corner, but Barbary attacking on the hit and run to put Mississippi State on top.
That is her 2nd double in the series, as she also doubled back on Friday, and her 11th double of the year. 5-4 Mississippi State. And here's Kylie Edwards, who drove home a run with a base hit and then scored a run in the 1st. She's already been on base twice. She walked in the 3rd.
The 1, 2, 3 in this Mississippi State lineup in this ball game have been deadly. 4 of the 5 runs that have been scored in this ball game have come from the 1, 2, 3. And couple all of that, 2 outs.
Into the gap toward left center field. Hannah Cord chases it down, and the inning is over. But Mississippi State is back on top. It is 5-4 Bulldogs, and we will visit with their head coach, Samantha Ricketts, when we return.
So much like what we've seen in a lot of these SEC series, but just both of these teams exchanging blows back and forth, back and forth. When you see one team get a little bit of momentum, all of a sudden, Mississippi State answers right back and regains the lead.
There's the new pitcher for the Bulldogs, Josie Marin. Saw her on Friday afternoon. She pitched 2 innings in that game and was very good. Gave just 1 hit. Gave up a couple of walks, and this one is hit foul by Isabella Emmerling. But Marin is a junior from Grimes, Iowa. 3rd year at Mississippi State. Made 20 starts and had a very respectable ERA of 3.68 last season.
Yeah, and Marin, a little bit of a different look than what you're seeing from Everett. Obviously, the righty, but throws in the low to mid 60s, tries to keep the ball down. And I like this for Mississippi State. 2nd half of the ball game, we talked about playing a doubleheader and what that means in the way that you manage your staff, and this is part of it. Making those changes, you've got to lead back half of the ball game and giving an opportunity, but more importantly, changing the eyes of these Sooner hitters and trying to get off balance. One thing Everett did not throw a lot of in the start of this ball game was a lot of off speed, and all of a sudden we're seeing the off speed, that pitch coming in at 53 miles an hour.
So as a hitter, how do you make that adjustment?
You've got to get in rhythm.
Good luck.
But working a little bit later and gearing up for the off speed.
This one caught down around the ankles by Edwards for the first out. So Marin off to a good start. Retires the first batter she faces. Hannah Core is next for Oklahoma.
But with Marin having those off-speed pitches, one thing that you, as a hitter, you either zone it out and you don't swing at it, or you sit late. You sit in late rhythm, foul off anything when you are in a 2-strike count, foul off anything hard, and sit late on the off-speed.
Hannah Core homered in Friday's game and then put down a sacrifice bunt back in the second inning today. Up and in. Hannah Core hands are really low. Bat is a little more flat. And you'll notice something with these Oklahoma hitters and what JT Gasso does with them. We talked with Patty Gasso about it, but the biomechanics of each player and what style is most comfortable for every respectable hitter. So this one is flied out to Sells for the second out, and it's JT Gasso is so good at taking what a hitter likes and is comfortable with and using that to fit their style.
Yeah, and you know, that sounds almost, you're going, well, yeah, doesn't every coach do that? And that's absolutely not the case. And one thing that we've heard Coach Gasso say about the approach that JT takes with these hitters is he has the ability to test their preferences, was the word that was used. And, you know, there is no cookie cutter way that he teaches hitting as far as this is exactly what every hitter should look like. And, you know, I think that there's a lot to say for that. I mean, the proof is in what these offenses have done. But having enough comfortability and enough trust in your players to say, you know what, let's see what works for every single one of you. There is no cookie cutter way, I'm going to continue to say it, of how these hitters are built.
Two balls and a strike to Cassidy Pickering, who homered in the bottom of the first inning. 1 for 2. She's also flied to Sierra Sacco in center field.
Pickering has been so tremendous at the plate. We can talk over and over about the numbers, the power numbers. The approach that she has, it feeds in. I'm going to say younger players. Cassidy Pickering's a younger player herself.
She's
Again,
a sophomore.
You forget about the youthfulness, and we continue to use that word. It's the same word that Coach Gasso used of, you know, forgetting from time to time the youth of players like Cassidy Pickering.
And so Pickering draws the 2-out walk to extend the bottom of the 4th inning. And that's part of it for Pickering. That's 41 walks that she has drawn this year, 4th most in the SEC. So it's not just all swings. Patience at the plate for Pickering. And that gets Nelly McEnroe-Marinas to the plate. McEnroe-Marinas is struck out and lined out to shortstop Kylie Edwards today. To center field, already playing deep, moving to right center field is Sacco, who hangs with it, and the inning is over. A walk and one left. Maker is Nadia Barbari's RBI double in the top of the 4th inning that has given Mississippi State this 5-4 lead. 5 runs on 7 hits for Mississippi State. Oklahoma, 4 runs on 5 hits. Each team has committed an error.
Well, these teams have been pretty equally matched throughout this ball game so far. I mean, if you look at every facet of the game, in the circle, a little bit of a tough start on both sides. I mean, there have been 9 runs scored in this game. 7 were scored in the first inning. We've seen pitchers settle in for both teams. Offense on both sides get some timely hitting. And Mississippi State, you go back to the 4th inning, a lot of that timely hitting coming with 2 outs. And one thing Mississippi State does well is capitalize with 2 outs.
Morgan Stiles over 2. She has fly to right field and grounded to 3rd base in this one. Had a base hit in Friday's game. That's just under the glove of the diving shortstop Gabby Garcia. And Morgan Stiles has now reached base safely in 8 straight games. She has a leadoff 5th inning single for the Bulldogs.
Gabby Garcia trying to keep this on the infield, but Stiles going down to get the drop ball and finding it through the 5-6 hole.
So here's Bernardini, who doubled and scored in the 1st. Shows bunt. There's a snap throw in behind the runner Stiles, who dives back in safely. A throw by Emmerling.
Emmerling trying to catch Stiles sleeping, and it was automatic on that bunt and nearly caught Stiles.
One and one the count.
Mississippi State has gotten the leadoff runner aboard 3 of the 5 innings.
Nicely done by Garcia to get the lead runner Morgan Stiles out there at 2nd base. Not sure if that ball hit Isabella Smith's glove. She reached down to try to backhand it, didn't quite get there, and probably worked out best for Oklahoma there.
Yeah, it looked like it went right underneath Isabella Smith's glove, and Gabby Garcia working quickly. That pitch just jammed Bernardini.
So here's Jesse Blaine, who drove home a run with an RBI base hit in the 1st, and then fly to right field in the 3rd. One and one the count. Smith is now up to 4 full innings in the circle, relieving Audrey Lowry in the 1st inning. Lowry retired just 1 batter. And now we've got Samantha Ricketts out for a conversation with Cameron Nelson, the plate umpire. But Smith, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, no strikeouts. Bulldogs have not struck out yet today. I think we've got gonna have a runner moving in over at 1st base for the Bulldogs. Looks like Keilani Sells is going to run for.
Attention, please. Pitch running at 1st base, number 42, Keilani Sells.
So Sells now runs.
Yeah, one thing, if you look at this Mississippi State offense a year ago.
That goes off of McEnroe Marinas. And Blaine will be safe at 1st. Sells is safe at 2nd. And the Bulldogs have a little threat going.
That ball hit hard by Blaine, and a play you are used to seeing McEnroe Marinas make. And Blaine is turning on this pitch. Again, struck well and just caught Nelly McEnroe Marinas up in the chest on that high hop just a bit. And what will be ruled an error.
So that is the 2nd Oklahoma error. And another bench run. Greta Grassel is going to run at 1st base for Blaine. Ella Wesolowski now 0 for 2 in this one. Here's a big opportunity for some separation for Mississippi State.
A big spot here for Wesolowski. Mississippi State, opportunity to put a little bit of distance.
Wasilowski popped up to the shortstop Garcia back in the first, and then grounded to the second baseman Agbayani in the third. Fly ball, center field. Core drifting toward right center, makes the catch. Sells is going to tag and move to third safely, and Grassel tags up from first and goes to second base. Nice job by Core to hang with that play, and good base running. Still a scoring chance with 2 down now for the Bulldogs.
And just as we've seen all game, Mississippi State advancing runners, and they've done it in all types of different ways. We've seen them advance runners with ground balls, and doing it again here on the sacrifice fly. And again, struck pretty well as Core nearly caught it at the warning track. But Coach Jen Rocha out to have a conversation with Isabella Smith. You can just feel the gravity of this situation here for both teams.
Lexi Sosa is going to pinch hit here for Riley Hall in the number 8 spot for Mississippi State. So 2 down, runners at second and third. And as DJ said, it feels like a big moment in this game. Chance for some breathing room for the Bulldogs. And Oklahoma trying to shut it down, keep it at a 1-run game.
2 outs for Mississippi State, a pair of runners in scoring position. But just as we've seen, not just in this game, but all season, Mississippi State is one of the best 2-out hitting teams in the country. Nearly 100 of their runs have come this season with 2 outs. And that's one of those things that, as a coach, I mean, you preach to your teams of, we've got to find ways to get things done with 2 outs. And Mississippi State has done it all season, and another opportunity here.
Why is Lexi Sosa on here? She's kind of got that clutch thing. 15 of her 24 hits have been extra base hits. She's a UCLA transfer. Also pitches. 1-1 the count. Sells the runner at third. Grassel is the runner at second base. 1-run game in the first of a doubleheader. That one just misses in.
Isabella Smith challenging Sosa on the inner part of the plate. And that pitch just missing a bit up. But I like the location in on the hands. Because it sets up that curveball right there.
Sosa had 1 career home run coming into this year. She's hit 10 home runs. Full count now. First base is open.
Big beach here. You've got Sells on deck, and say it over and over, not your typical 9-hole hitter in Sells, who's waiting in the wings.
Swing and a miss. A big strikeout for Isabella Smith. And so Kalani Sells and Greta Grassel are left on base. Oklahoma trails by 1. And they will try to rally as we hit the 5th inning stretch at Loves Field in Norman. Josie Marin back out there into the circle and dealing a little bit downstairs to Ella Parker, who's been on base twice today, and she has scored twice. Walked and scored in the first, singled and scored in the third. Hard hit to Hopper that just evades the glove of Riley Hall and rolls out into right field. So Oklahoma has the tying run aboard, and Ella Parker's been on base 3 times in this game.
Yeah, big day for Ella Parker so far. Each time she has reached base, she has come around to score in this ball game. Represents the tying run.
Garcia 1 for 2, bunts it, picked up at third. Barbary, and the throw is dropped at first base by Hull. Everybody will be safe.
Very well executed bunt by Gabby Garcia. Again, tight ball game. You've got to do the little things well, and that's about as well as you can do it. Great placed bunt and putting some pressure on this Mississippi State defense, and all of a sudden, you can kind of feel that momentum shift back into that Sooner dugout.
Sydney Sanders has reached base twice in this game. Doubled home run and then scored in the first, and she was safe on a dropped fly ball in right field in the third. Oklahoma trying to put the pressure on Mississippi State. Bulldogs have had all the responses today, and the count is even at 1-1. Scored a sacrifice and a throwing error on that last play, leaving Garcia safe at first base. That one pops away from Wesolowski, and the runners will move up. And Sydney Sanders able to just hop out of the way. So now the go-ahead run is in scoring position for Oklahoma.
And what will be scored a wild pitch, and this just in the dirt, getting away from Marin. And very quickly, Oklahoma in a spot to put up a crooked number.
That will score at least the tying run. It is 5 apiece on an RBI single by Sydney Sanders, who's driven in 2. And Garcia stops at third with the potential go-ahead run. So Sydney Sanders makes it 5 apiece.
Her second hit on the day with runners in scoring position, and didn't even finish the swing. Just getting enough and putting the ball on the ground. And I think we've seen it all day long. It's amazing the run production you get when you use the dirt and put the ball on the ground.
Cheney Helton will run at first base for Sydney Sanders.
So many options here for the Sooners, with Agbayani at the plate and runners at the corners.
Nobody out here in this 5th inning, and here's Agbayani. She's driven in 2 today. RBI single in the first, sacrifice fly to drive in a run in the third. A run home on 2 hits and an error in this frame for Oklahoma.
So much versatility from Agbayani in the box.
Went hard at that bunt. She offered at the pitch. Oh, safety squeeze play on there by the Sooners. What'd you think?
Potentially. I think that pitch up in the zone, and Agbayani doing a good job of protecting her runners.
Helton able to make it to second base, so 2 in scoring position. And that one just missed up. This is a big pitch here for Marin.
Hitters count.
And 3-1 with first base open. Abigail Dayton is on deck for Oklahoma.
If you're Marin, spot, let your defense work for you. Let your infield make a play.
There's ball 4. It squirts away from Wesolowski, and the Sooners lead. Head first dive by Garcia to make it 6-5.
The Sooners taking advantage. Some control issues from Marin here in the 5th, and we've seen quite a few of these drop balls miss in the dirt and sneak away. Now you've got Agbayani, who drew the walk and celebrating with Emmerling and forgetting that she had a job to get down to first base, and you could see Tiare Jennings kind of give her the, what are you doing? Get here. Because really, in theory, Agbayani should have been standing on second base.
So we see Samantha Ricketts coming out to chat with the plate umpire Cameron Elson. And in the meantime, Taryn Mowat-McKenney, the pitching coach, is out into the circle to chat with Marin. So the wild pitch scores the go-ahead run with Gabby Garcia plating that one to make it 6-5. It's the first time Oklahoma has led in this game, and the Bulldogs go into the bullpen. Raylan Chafin will become the third Mississippi State hurler of the day when we return.
To put runs on the board here in this ballgame.
Bunted, fielded by the third baseman Barbary. Her flip to the catcher Wesolowski gets away. A run is in, and the other two move to second and third. Small ball for the Sooners in the inning, and they now have a 2-run advantage.
And just continuing to talk about keeping this game in striking distance for Mississippi State. The bats have been alive, but there have been a few defensive miscues for the Bulldogs that have gotten them in this position. And you can see Barbary coming in and not getting around that ball to put her body in a position to make the play at home plate, and having to completely try to turn her body.
So Samantha Ricketts came out and had a visit with Cameron Elson, and now he's going to confer with the other two umpires. Oklahoma, small ball here. You know, Garcia, then the walk to Agbayani, the bunt by Dayton. So we cannot hear what Smokey Eds, our crew chief, is saying. Equipment malfunction. Patty Gasso's team has pushed across 3. So did this ball hit the foot of Dayton? Can you tell right there? It would be a foul ball.
That looks like it may have. It absolutely did. So this is all going to be pulled back.
What a great review to spot that in the Mississippi State dugout.
Yeah, that's big time.
And it certainly looks like she's in the batter's box, so it would just be a foul ball. You see the runner Cheney Helton crossing the plate, but a good challenge. They've already had one review overturned, so this is still challenge number 1, and I think the Bulldogs will win it for a second time today. You can see I'm not good at lip reading, but I believe he said the call on the field has been changed, and just as you said, DJ, this is all going to get reset.
And 2 challenges in this game that have been critical for the Bulldogs, but very clear. That ball coming off the left foot of Abby Dayton.
So Helton will go back to third, and Agbayani was all the way around to third base. She'll have to go back to first. As you mentioned a moment ago, she was unable to make it to second on the walk and the misplay. So the score goes back to 6-5. And Dayton takes a strike. So it is 0-2. They have 0-1 up on the board. There they go. That's strike 2 up there. Big overturn there to keep it at a 1-run game for now. That one hit Dayton, but she may have been out of the batter's box, and she is out. What a turn of events that is. 2 foul balls. One of them in the batter's box, one out of the batter's box. And so Abigail Dayton is retired.
And this entire sequence of events in Dayton's at-bat is huge. It takes a run off the board, and Dayton clearly out of the box on the slab. But it puts Mississippi State in a position to be able to work out of this inning with minimal damage. Now you've got the double play in order, because it looks like we're going to see a pinch hitter here for the Sooners.
It will be Tia Malloy batting here for Emmerling in the number 8 spot.
And this is where Mississippi State, one thing Coach Sam Ricketts had said was wanting to see this team play better in the middle innings.
We've got Macy Semino, the trainer for Mississippi State, out and looking here at Raylan Chafin. See Samantha Ricketts, Terry Moen McKinney also out there. They're just checking on something. Hard to tell what it might be.
Like Chafin is sort of holding her right shoulder.
Meantime, you see Patty Gasso, JT Gasso huddling up with their Sooners.
It's a little tough to tell.
Hey, so you're kind of working her right arm there a little bit.
I didn't see anything immediately after the pitch was thrown from Chafin. I mean, pretty delayed, but it looks as if she's sort of holding the inside part of her right shoulder. Here's a look at the last pitch that she threw. And you can see her pointing up immediately saying Abby Dayton was out of the box, but it didn't look as if anything happened specifically on that pitch. But
well, it looks like she's okay. Throws a couple of warm-up pitches.
Which is always good to see.
For no home runs, no big-time balls into the gap, this has been an eventful inning.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say?
And, you know, I was kind of hinting at it, but talking about this Mississippi State defense here in a spot to be able to step up. You know, the bunt erased in what was a little bit of a botched play. Again, Barbary trying to pick the ball up with her glove as opposed to her bare hand, and trying to flip as Agbayani steals the bag.
So Agbayani scoots on down to second base on the swing and miss by Malloy. Malloy, some serious power from Woodinville, Washington. Pinch hitting opportunity for Oklahoma. It's 2 runs on 2 hits and an error here in this 5th inning. Sydney Sanders tied it up with an RBI single, and then a wild pitch scored Gabby Garcia with the lead run to make it 6-5. Another run has been wiped off on a challenge by Mississippi State of a foul ball off the foot of the batter. At the time, it was Abigail Dayton, as Malloy takes this one down and away.
Talk about the game within the game and some of the little things that Mississippi State has done in this ballgame. 2 huge challenges that have essentially taken runs off the board. Just a testament to the coaching staff in that dugout, but the players paying attention.
Swing and a miss. 2 down as Malloy is retired. Back-to-back outs gotten here by Chafin.
And there's that change of speeds, and that is what I say. It's one of the many things that makes Chafin so successful. She changes speeds so many different ways. She doesn't just have a changeup and her velocity. She changes speeds and mixes speeds in between, and it makes it so difficult for these hitters to settle in and get any sort of rhythm in the box.
Here's Hannah Kaur, who is 0 for 1 with a sacrifice today. Homered in the Friday game up in Oklahoma City. Two and 0 the count. Kaur, the number 9 batter, and the very dangerous Cassidy Pickering is in the on-deck circle with the 2-0 count now. Three and 0.
Big a spot here for Chafin.
If you're Hannah Kaur, would you take 2 pitches potentially?
You're definitely taking the 3-0, I can tell you that. And in this at-bat, I mean, Chafin has not been extremely close to the strike zone, so I mean, make her come in got the hottest hitting Sooner on deck.
It doesn't appear as though Chafin is experiencing any ill effects. Remember, she had to take a couple of warm-up pitches. They had the trainer, Macy Simoneau, come out. Looks okay, though. Nicely done by the shortstop Edwards. Throw to first is on target, and the inning is over. A huge challenge and an overturned call in the inning that keeps an Oklahoma run off the board. But the Sooners get 2 runs on 2 hits and 1 error. And Oklahoma leads for the first time today. 6-5 Sooners headed to the 6th.
Very good ball clubs. It's tough to come back and play, Coach Gasso.
Did you ever do it as coach?
I did. And we hung a 0 in more ways than one.
Worked out the same. But what a tree it is for Patty Gasso. And you know, you keep track of not just the former players, but others who have come in and been assistant coaches that did not play in Norman, who've been a grad assistant, who have spent some time on Patty Gasso's staff, who have gone on to become head coaches. Kiara Sales here 0 for 2 and facing Isabella Smith. Isabella Smith has been good out of the bullpen for Oklahoma today. 4 2/3 innings of 3 hit balls. She's given 1 run with a strikeout and 2 walks. Sells turns on this one. It's a fly ball into the foul corner and out of play. Kiara Sales grounded to short in the 2nd, fly to right field in the 4th inning.
Sells is such a huge part of this Mississippi State lineup. In the 9-hole is really a table setter for the top half.
Got both Kalani and Kiara Sells in the lineup now for the Bulldogs.
Sooner fans unhappy with that call and that pitch. You gotta love the location coming from Isabella Smith, but it's an even better take from Sells. That pitch is just off the plate, so showing great discipline.
Whacks this one foul and out of play. 1-run game. These two teams can quickly change the scoreboard. Oklahoma 79 home runs on the year, 2nd most in the SEC. Mississippi State has clubbed 62. That is 5th in the conference.
Now we've seen the long ball here today. Now it was early. We saw it fast and quick.
It looked like we were going to see a bunch of long balls, and we may still in game 2.
This is true, but both of these teams, I mean, of the 11 runs that have been put up, it's all been manufactured in some way of moving runners, and Sells seeing a lot of pitches in this at-bat. This is such a huge moment. Not just the at-bat of Sells, but if you're Oklahoma, and Isabel Emmerling knows it as she's headed out to have a chat with Smith. Such a huge out here. 1-run ball game, 9-hole hitter, opportunity to roll it back over to the 1-2-3 for Mississippi State, who has done the bulk of the damage offensively in this ball game. So huge spot, huge pitch here coming from Isabella Smith.
In the air down the right field line, a long run, and it bangs off the net, and then Cassidy Pickering bangs into the net and the wall.
We've talked about it, Chad. You've got a lot of room down that line until you run out, and Cassidy Pickering doing everything she can to try to make the catch, but doing the 3-2 again. Sells seeing her 10th pitch in the at-bat.
And it hit her. Nope, it hit the bat handle, or did it? No, it hit her. It looked like she had stepped back into the batter's box, but
and this pitch up and in. Ball 4 regardless. But the question kind of immediate was, did it hit the knob of the bat? But either way, Sells aboard, and I think that may be the question. But Sells aboard, and huge spot here for Smith is we may see a pitching change for the Sooners.
Patty Gasso out.
And
yeah, most times if it's just a visit, you might see Jennifer Rocha come out for a conversation. When there's going to be a change, Patty Gasso comes out and it will be a change. So the Sooners will go to their third pitcher of the day. It'll be Kirsten Deal. Tying run is aboard for the Bulldogs in the opening game of a doubleheader. Game hanging in the balance. And in comes the junior from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Kirsten Deal. We return to Love's Field.
those have come out of the bullpen. So big spot here for Deal, going through the toughest part of this lineup. And you look at Isabella Smith's day and the timing of this pitching change. We talked a lot about how these coaching staffs were going to manage their pitchers, knowing that you've got a doubleheader here today. But Isabella Smith really settled this game down when she entered back in the first inning. But the only hits that she gave up came from the top half of this lineup.
Longest relief appearance for an Oklahoma Sooner pitcher this year, 4 2/3 innings. 3 hits and 1 run so far given by Smith. Deals 2-0 to Sacco. Hit foul. Sacco homered on the very first pitch of this game back in the first inning. She's also flied to left and then scored after getting a base hit in the 4th inning. She scored on Barbary's double. Two and two the count.
Deal bringing a different look. You've got the lefty-lefty matchup against Sacco. Such a huge spot. I feel like we've said that over and over in this ball game, but so many momentum shifts.
That one goes under the glove and through the legs of Emmerling. And now the tying run is in scoring position.
It almost feels as if these teams are just mirroring one another. This pitch gets away from Deal, trying to get out of the zone, and Emmerling going through the wickets. And these are the little things. We've seen it on both sides of the ball. Mississippi State having some miscues as well.
Hard hit to McEnroe Marinas. She'll throw across, holding the runner Sells at second base. 1 away. Scored a wild pitch, by the way, on the advancement by Kiara Sells. Big out there, though, for Deal. Very dangerous hitter, leading hitter in the SEC, Sierra Sacco. And here's Barbary, who's got 2 hits, driven in a run, and scored a run.
Seeing Deal miss those pitches just a little bit in the dirt. Barbary has been an issue here this afternoon, and Coach Gasso noticing, again, there's a difference between a miss and a competitive miss. But with all of that, I think we talked so much about the chess game of what it's going to be, of how these teams manage their pitching staffs, and I think we are seeing Oklahoma do that right now. Of the lefty-lefty matchup of Deal, do your job, get your outs. Now the Sooners are going to make another change and go to Sam Landry.
Indeed they will. So the 4th Oklahoma pitcher will be Friday's complete game winner, Sam Landry. Sam Landry trying to hold the Bulldogs off the scoreboard. Sooners lead by 1. And she inherited the 1-0 count from Deal. Barbary has singled, doubled, driven in a run, and scored a run. Tying run in scoring position for Mississippi State. And 3-0 now. A walk puts the go-ahead run on.
If you're Sam Landry, big key. Again, especially going through the heart of this Mississippi State lineup, you've got to get in the zone, and you got to get in the zone quickly.
3-1 now.
Barbary, as we mentioned, has had a day here today, but Friday, Sam Landry with the shutout, but one of the only hits coming from Barbary.
3-2 now. Barbary, as DJ said, had that double against Sam Landry back on Friday. She's also doubled in this game, her 11th of the year. Popped up. Calling for it is Garcia, the shortstop, 2 down. So this was Landry back on Friday afternoon, about 46 hours ago, when she wrapped up this complete game.
And she was dealing on Friday and just had the Bulldogs off balance. And we've seen here today how potent this Mississippi State offensive lineup is. Sam Landry had them guessing defensive swings on Friday and looking to continue that here to shut this game down for the Sooners.
Landry has thrown over half of Oklahoma's innings in SEC play. And she faces Kylie Edwards, who's 1 for 2 with a base hit, an RBI, and a run scored for her back in that 4-run first inning. Edwards is also walked and flying to center field. Landry, the transfer from Louisiana, 3 seasons there. And her first as an Oklahoma Sooner coming in 2025. Favorable count here for Kylie Edwards. Edwards had an infield hit that scored the 2nd run of the game for Mississippi State back in the 1st. 3-1 now.
As Landry has come into this ball game, huge out of Barbary, especially getting her to pop up on the infield and not put the ball on the ground with the opportunity to potentially move cells. But some of her misses have been uncompetitive off the plate.
So the walk makes it runners at first and second, and the cleanup batter, Morgan Stiles, strolls in for the Bulldogs with a huge opportunity. The go-ahead run is aboard for the Bulldogs. It's the 2nd time Edwards has walked in this game. Morgan Stiles had a base hit back in the 5th. Oh, 0-2 quickly on Stiles.
When you talked to Coach Gasso earlier in the week, what does this pitching staff need to do? It was very simple. Keep the ball in the yard and throw strikes. Limit the free passes.
Check swing right back to Landry, who puts out the fire, retires 2, and Oklahoma maintains a 1-run lead. 6-5, Oklahoma on top, moving to the bottom of the 6th inning.
At second base, originally safe on the steal, but then challenged, and she was called out. But Sooners put up 3 runs in that inning, and the overturn of the call didn't just get Agbayani out of scoring position, but it got the Bulldogs out of that inning.
Cassidy Pickering homered on the very first pitch she saw today, and takes a strike there. What a job by Raylan Chafin as well. That 5th inning was a mess. You had defensive faux pas, you had walks, you had a couple of Oklahoma base hits, and then Chafin came out of the bullpen and got 3 outs back to back to back and limited the damage. She did everything that she could. Oklahoma with a 1-run lead.
And Chafin coming in and just being a veteran and keeping this game within striking distance for Mississippi State, but being thrown into a tough situation in the 5th, just stepping up. And there's that off-speed pitch in for a called strike, and I will say it as many times as I get the opportunity, the most important pitch in the game, the changeup and the off-speed. There is no changing my mind.
Kind of a defensive swing there, but Pickering's going to beat the play at first base easily. And Edwards just really couldn't do much about that. It was hit so slowly toward her. Leadoff single for Cassidy Pickering in the Oklahoma 6th.
And when the off speed is always in the cards, you get those defensive swings. But Cassidy Pickering taking advantage of it. That was deliberate. It was, I see the pitch, I'm not on time, I'm going to shorten up and just poke it through, and just like that, she's on or the leadoff.
Here's Nelly McEnroe-Marinas, 0 for 3 in this game. She struck out, lined to short, and fly to center. Batting .356. Just a little bit outside. 1-1 to Nelly McEnroe-Marinas. McEnroe-Marinas redshirted last year in Norman, watched the national championship happen, and as Patty Gasso said, was salivating for the opportunity to play in 2025. Redshirt freshman, 8 home runs in SEC play. 1-2 the count to her.
And on top of everything that McEnroe-Marinas brings, I mean, her play speaks for itself, but also named team captain as an underclassman. That doesn't happen. I mean, it doesn't happen in any sport very often.
Third basemen are just wired a little differently.
This is true.
Those who want to specifically play third, there are those who go, okay, you're going to play third base whether you like it or not. She loves it down there.
I feel like if to be a really good one, you better love it, because otherwise, I mean, especially when you've got lefties on staff. But Nelly has really taken over some leadership roles on this ball team. When you hear Coach Gasso talk about the youth, and the team captain is a redshirt freshman.
Payoff pitch, nubbed back toward the pitcher. Chafin's throw is on time. Pickering going to try to go to third, and she is safe there. Looked like the throw might have been good, and we'll see about the exchange there at third base. So Oklahoma, with that rollout, gets a runner from first to third and a potential insurance run, now close to scoring.
And McEnroe-Marinas catching that off the cap of the bat. And a good job by Chafin getting on it quickly. But if you look at Cassidy Pickering, immediately gone. And it was first to third the entire way. And you've got to love the aggressive base running. And on the play, again, throw pretty solid. But Barbary did not have the ball in her glove.
And they're out once again. Macy Semino, the trainer, is out, and look at Raylan Chafin. Boy, she's got that right shoulder holding it. Man, you feel for her. I hate to speculate. We certainly won't on what this might be, but she's going to have to leave the game now. This is very unfortunate, concerning.
And again, watching, and I can speak from experience on this. If you're having issues and your shoulder is just not feeling the way it's supposed to, as Chafin gets the applause that she absolutely deserves, one of the worst things and one of the worst feelings when that shoulder is not feeling right is having to jump off the mound, fielder position to fire a ball over the first base.
6-5 Oklahoma, and the Bulldogs having to go back to the bullpen for Samantha Ricketts.
Pickering at third base. You almost thought for a moment that Chafin dropped to make sure she wasn't in the line of the throw. But watching it again, it was just out of sheer pain. So heart goes out to Chafin, hoping that she is all right.
You root for players like Raylan Chafin, an amazing story. Survived thyroid cancer back in 2024. Let's just hope she's okay, and maybe we will see her in the nightcap. Again, one more game here today. But all eyes are now on Everett, who went the first 3 innings of this when she walked Ella Parker back in the first, and then Parker singled off of her in the third. Parker 3 runs scored in this game. She's got 2 hits.
And one thing for Everett, at the start of this game, entered the game with 8 walks on the season, walked 2 earlier in the game, so very out of the ordinary for Everett, usually in the zone. And there's the 3rd walk for her today.
Ella Parker's been on base all 4 times she's come to the plate. 2 walks and 2 base hits. And Oklahoma runners at first and third with 1 down. And Gabby Garcia set to come to the plate.
Gabby Garcia, you just look at the stat line for her today. She had the single back in the 3rd.
Check swing foul ball here.
But in the 5th inning, a part of kind of what looked like sort of a scoring frenzy and a run later called back, but right in the middle of that scoring rally for the Sooners in the 5th, laid down a bunt that was followed up with a throwing error.
Hits this one hard, backhanded by Stiles. The throw to second is in time, and what a double play. Excellent throw by Edwards, but the stop by Stiles makes the play, and the inning is over. Mississippi State flashing the leather to keep us EC softball. The road to Athens is on. And we got more proof here in the first game of this doubleheader. 1-run game as Oklahoma trying to win this series. They took game 1 back on Friday. This is game 2. Game 3 of the series will follow this one about 45 minutes in between the 2. Morgan Bernardini to lead off against Sam Landry, the Oklahoma ace, who came on and got the final 2 outs of the 6th inning. She was the winning pitcher on Friday between these teams. Bernardini doubled and scored in the 1st.
And Landry an opportunity to slam the door. And what has been just a complete back and forth between these teams, both offenses matching each other blow for blow throughout the entire ball game.
Chopper foul. The Bulldogs got 4 in the top of the 1st inning. Very first pitch was hit out by Sierra Sacco. Bernardini had a double. It was 4-0. Oklahoma answered with 3 in the bottom of the 1st, including a Pickering home run and an RBI double by Sydney Sanders. Sooners tied it on a sac fly by Ailana Agbayani in the 3rd. This roll to McEnroe Marinas, and Sanders tap dances on the bag at first for the 1st out. Bulldogs retook the lead 5-4 on an RBI double by Barbary in the top of the 4th. But Oklahoma tied it on a Sanders single at 5 apiece in the 5th. And right now, the go-ahead run scored on a wild pitch. Gabby Garcia scored from 3rd base. That was in the bottom of the 5th. Jesse Blaine will bat once again. Had a base hit back in the 1st. She's also flied to right and been safe on an error. Blaine's base hit back in the 1st was the 4th run of the game. Popped up. Shortstop Garcia called off by Agbayani, and the second baseman takes it for the 2nd out.
2 quick outs for Landry. Entering this ball game in the 6th. And you've got to have that mentality coming out of the bullpen. Landry's gotten a lot of starts. We've seen her out of the bullpen, but here as of late, most of her time has been spent starting ball games. but you've got to have that mentality of slam the door.
Final hope for the Bulldogs is Ella Wesolowski, the catcher. Wesolowski 0 for 3, popped up. She's flying to center and she is grounded out.
You know, one place you look at the offensive production for Mississippi State here today. 5 runs on the board, numerous extra base hits, but most of that production has come from the 1 through 5. 6 through 9 has been relatively quiet.
And the Bulldogs down to their final strike. Once again, about 40 to 45 minutes we expect in between the 2 games of this doubleheader. Sam Landry trying to slam the door and get the final 5 outs and give Oklahoma a series win. It would be Oklahoma's 14th come from behind win of the year. Trailed 4-0 after just 1/2 inning.
If you take anything away from this ball game for both teams, this has been an absolute fight, as we knew it would be. And every SEC series, it feels like you turn on any of them, it doesn't matter. It is a back and forth game of momentum, and this game here has been no different.
Oklahoma won 4-0 on Friday. Slow chopper, McEnroe Marinas, and Oklahoma wins it in come from behind fashion, 6-5. The Sooners have taken the first 2 games of this 3-game series, and Sam Landry comes on to close the door and get the final 5 outs of this one, DJ.
And Landry entering this game in the heart of this lineup and just having a calmness.